Hugh Freeze and John Cohen double down on this recruiting class.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, hanging out with us as we look back at a very busy day one of SEC Media Days. We'll talk about some of the notes that impact Auburn from day one, but we spent Monday night with the Auburn Ambush Tour. Hugh Freeze, Butch Thompson, John Cohen spoke to the media privately before obviously going in front of conference-wide and national media on Tuesday morning when they make the rounds at SEC Media Days. Of course, the main thing he was asked about, it was the same question asked like probably 5 different times, just worded different ways, was about rev share. Shocker. And Darrell, the biggest takeaway to me, they're maintaining an extremely high level of confidence. They have more information now than they did a few weeks ago when they made these claims. They feel good about it, and they have doubled down, and they had an incredible quote.
They are staying the course, and the quote is, "Do not confuse patience with inactivity."
Yep.
Meaning that just because there is no movement right now, and I know fans don't want to hear that, I can already see the comments ringing like a slot machine. But I would just say this. The great thing about all this is we're going to know, just like we're going to know results on the field when people promise things,
Yep.
We're going to know how this recruiting class finishes up if the proof is in the pudding. And they both agree that just right now, what they're doing does not equate to inactivity or that they're not having targets that they're talking to, and that they're not going to finish really, really strong. And I'll let you share the story about Cohen and Hugh Freeze on the ride down here.
Yeah, obviously they rode together from Auburn, and he said 7 recruits called Hugh Freeze, not the other way around. 7 recruits reached out to Hugh Freeze. Cohen was bragging on Hugh Freeze, saying like, look, just because the recruiting class is ranked what it is, it's not from lack of effort. Nobody's building a stronger relationship with these kids than Hugh Freeze, is what Cohen said. And I mean, that's what we've heard. That's pretty consistent with what we've heard about Hugh Freeze, the recruiter. That's why he's been able to sell this vision. And we've heard, how good of a recruiter Hugh Freeze is. It's showing up in the rankings. Like, I don't think anybody's pushing back on Hugh Freeze, the recruiter, but it was nice to hear Cohen kind of say like, look, once again, like you can't look at all this and just say, hey, we're not doing anything, because we are. And they some of that, I mean, he called it patience, but I mean, it's a strategy that they've chosen to implement. And up to this point, like that's what they're rolling with.
We've talked about for the last 2 or 3 weeks that this staff just didn't forget how to recruit.
Correct.
This tells me that they are doing exactly what they think they need to be doing. They are being patient. The August 1st deadline was explained very, very clearly and intelligently by John Cohen, and what that means. Basically, that's when all these offers that you start promising kids have to go into writing.
Yeah.
And when they come into writing, they become official. I also want to say this. To me, the comment you made about recruits calling Hugh Freeze on the way over here means to me, they're looking for updates. They're looking for, hey,
sure,
Coach, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not, you don't just call to say, hey, how's the weather in Atlanta? How the Braves doing? I think it's a matter of you want progress. Where are we at? Or am I, what's my committable offer? What are we looking like? I think that there is a line of communication that I feel better about that Hugh Freeze is having with these kids, that when Auburn is ready to move, there will be absolute decisiveness as far as decision making.
Which 7 commits, like 7 recruits, like assuming all these guys aren't committed, right? Which he just said recruit. Some of them could be committed, but 7 guys added to this class, it changes everything. Changes the whole conversation about it. So obviously he was asked about, the ability to pivot, right? And he was kind of pressed on that. I forgot who it was. It might've been Mike G that asked that. I'm not sure, but the approach of, okay, like if things don't go this way, and, certain things are getting approved by NIL Go, and, the market value is, higher for these guys than what you guys believe what the current legislation is. What do you do? And he kind of stopped and smiled. He's like, Auburn is going to do whatever it takes. That's what they've done the past few years. Auburn is in a spot to do whatever it takes. And it's like, okay, cool. Because I firmly believe that the lack of recruiting success in this year's class is not due to relationships. Cohen said that. Sounds like you agree. I think we're all on the same page when it comes to that. And so if Auburn has the funds necessary to do this, if they're able to pay market value for these kids, I think if it's tied or close, Auburn is in a great spot to flip a lot of these kids. And so clearly that's what they believe, Darrell.
Right.
And they've doubled down on this even now after they have more information.
I have more conviction in believing that two things. Number one, it's not about not having the money. It's about
can you give it to them?
Can you give it to them?
Can you pay the kids?
How you're going to allocate it? When are you going to spend it? Number two, when you talk about it not being about relationships, I also don't think it's about results. We hear so much that, they better win. And I get that. And that's why the roster retention portion of this is so big.
Yeah.
I don't think that has anything to do with the recruiting. It will roster retention. I think that the results that Auburn had last year and the year before did not hamper the recruiting class.
Well, look at who they've lost guys to. I mean, FSU seems to be like super in it with all these kids. Yeah, they're awful. And their upside this year is way less than Auburn's. Worst conference. Like, it's just an overall worse situation.
What about the receiver? Auburn lost to Kentucky. Auburn beat Kentucky.
Yep.
So
Kentucky, Nebraska got a lineman, Impuma or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Lane Kiffin yesterday kind of said a similar thing. I think that's going to be a trend for maybe like half of the conference or so throughout the week. And is that going to be enough to do anything? I don't know.
How telling is that? How telling? This is what I want people to watch out for.
Yeah.
The ones that mention it, like Lane Kiffin, and I think Eli Drinkwitz, and I think Hugh Freeze, the ones that mention it, people will say, they're complaining, they're whining because they can't get good recruiting classes. The ones that don't, I think there's a message in there too.
Sure. Possibly so. We'll learn more of that throughout the week. And obviously Auburn goes Tuesday morning, which I think what we were told tonight is going to be, better for people who watch and follow the show every day than what you'll see at the podium. I was told that they stand at a podium behind a lectern. They don't stand behind the podium. So, but at the podium is what I'm going to say on Tuesday. But we'll still, of course, we'll talk about it throughout the week here on Locked On Auburn. Hey, he talked about this roster. He talked about this roster a ton, and he feels the same way about it as we do. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at GameTime. GameTime's the best place to buy tickets. There's no question about it. We've said it several times throughout this week. I mean, especially in a city like Atlanta where there's so much going on right now with Beyonce. We just had to, when we got back to our hotel, we had to battle the traffic that is, the Beyonce. I think they call it the Bay Hive. Is that what
Bay Hive? You got it.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go. But hey, if we wanted to go, or if we want to go to the All-Star game later this week, last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. That's Game Time. You can save up to 60% when you go to Game Time to download the Game Time app. Can you imagine buying tickets anywhere else, Darrell?
I could not. Nope. Absolutely not.
Nope. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day.
Including Andrew Gardner.
Andrew Gardner,
shout out. I just threw that in there.
We were told he listens all the time.
So shout out to you.
At the ambush event last night. Yes, super cool.
Thank you for that, Andrew.
Super cool. Absolutely. Hugh Freeze was asked about this roster under the context of, okay, the first two seasons, you were pretty clear of like, hey, this roster isn't quite where we need to be to run a Hugh Freeze offense, which makes sense. Some of that was receivers, some of that was quarterbacks, some of it was offensive line, some of it I do think was play calling. Still, he was asked, he was actually asked on a scale of 1 to 10, where is this roster? He didn't say a number, but his response was I love this team.
He did not let Mike G finish the question. That's how excited
That's a good point.
He
love this
jumped
team.
in and said, did he say like or love?
I think he said love.
I do too. He said, I love this team and I love this. He did not let Mike finish his question. He was that excited to jump in and express his opinion.
Yep. So, there's buzz around this roster. Heck, you and I went to dinner after we went to the ambush event.
This is great.
And then our Uber driver picks us up to bring us back to the hotel. And he's like, saw the Auburn stuff. He asked what we were doing. We're here for SEC Media Days. And he's like, oh, my best friend's son just transferred to you guys. And, I was over at his house yesterday. And Darrell asked a natural question like, who is it? Who's your buddy's kid? He's like, Eric Singleton. He said it in a way where it was like, have y'all heard of him?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've heard of Eric Singleton or not. We're like, oh, okay. Super fired up, and all the reports that Eric's given to his father, to our Uber driver. Super cool. A lot of energy, exciting stuff. So, there is buzz around this roster. And just talking to other SEC reporters and media people throughout SEC Media Days, like people see it. People see it too. And I think some of that's why people want to poop on Hugh Freeze's golf game and all that crap, is because they do see that Auburn has a competitive roster now.
Absolutely. And I asked the question about where he felt like he needed the most improvement from last year to this year to upgrade the roster. And his answer surprised me a little. Now, I did say with the caveat,
other than quarterback. And then I also said, I'm not trying to throw shit. That's the obvious one. And he said he was totally okay with you wording it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He said linebackers, speed in the secondary, and offensive tackle.
So let's talk about what that means for a second. So he said at linebacker that they got bigger and stronger at linebacker and at safety, or
faster.
Yeah. Bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah. And then the second part of that answer, like tying to the linebackers, is he talked about like retention, how important retention was this offseason. He's like, everybody wants us to go sign, all these guys, but it's like, you got to keep your guys too that you believe in. And so I hear that as DeMarcus Riddick is a factor, right? That's what I heard from that. The kid that we got from LSU, I'm blanking on his name.
Atkins.
There just hasn't been many additions in the linebacker room.
Caleb Wheatland is, but I think he is just a plug and play because of his experience.
I don't know if he's like faster though.
I don't know.
We lost.
We don't know. Maybe we underestimated. Maybe I don't know.
I think he's solid.
Yeah.
I think he's solid.
He should start. He's coming in as a presumed starter.
I don't think he'll start.
Well, I've seen.
Do you think he starts over Robert Woodyard?
Yeah, I've seen some depth charts that have him that are usually pretty accurate. The whatever boys won, whatever.
Our lads.
Yeah, our lads.
I don't know about that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll certainly see. I would think it'd be Woodyard and Riddick, because Wheatland didn't go through spring, right? We got him in the spring window.
That's a great question.
I don't think he went through spring. So we'll see. And then a defensive back, which is just a fascinating situation. He was asked about the corner. We'll kind of lump these two talking points together, where it's like, okay, you've got two starting corners in the SEC, elite guys with Jay Crawford, Kay and Lee, but you go out and get Rayshon Pleasant and Ryan Strader, and it's like these guys are starting caliber corners. You also have Champ Anthony on the roster, which I think he's a nickel now, but when you look at that, and he talked about like the competitive edge, and you don't want to just let guys have those positions, which is cool, makes sense. Like you want to like still have guys compete, even though they're assumed starters. I don't know, just to like invest that much into depth in the secondary is crucial. Like you have to have corners to win in the SEC.
That's what he said, and he mentioned Pleasant by name. His eyes lit up again when he talked about him. He said he told Kay and Lee and Crawford, whatever you did last year doesn't matter. You got to go out and earn it.
Sure.
Hold on to it. Go take it. And he said he feels very, very comfortable with the four defensive backs that he has, because in this league, you can never have too many.
Yeah. He also mentioned Woodby and Donovan Starr,
yes.
The two of the freshmen.
But he really, again, his face lit up when he talked about Pleasant. And he feels very – and we've heard that now for – a couple of weeks and a month.
Yeah,
a
lot of the accolades, though, and when we did the show, like I think we were a little misinformed because we didn't have the Feel Steel magazine when we talked about it. But a lot of his preseason stuff has been for special teams.
Yeah.
And he was a good returner at Tulane. I still don't see it happy to be wrong, because if he's good enough to play over these guys, he's going to be good and he's going to make Auburn better. But I am curious to see how that battle shakes out for sure.
I just love the depth. And I know that he mentioned
worst case is he's an incredible number 2 guy.
He said those 2 guys that started last year will be looking over their shoulder. That's how he said it. I mean, he made no bones about it.
Yep.
And competition like that, remember, and I hate to make references to this, but I just have to say what it is. When Alabama's defensive secondary was elite, they could run 4 or 5 guys out there, and they pushed each other because the other one didn't want to give up their spot. And that's what Auburn's secondary is getting to as far as numbers.
Yeah, and they always have another number 1 corner kind of waiting in the wings, and that's what you got to do. And he said that. For Auburn to get to where, not just to be competitive, but to win, you have to stack these guys. You have to create these competitions. And so they're doing things the right way. We'll see what happens with this specific class, but I think they're doing things the right way. You asked about the running back room. I thought it was going to be about Ashton Daniels. We'll talk about him in a second. But you essentially phrased the question of, hey, you haven't really done the whole running back by committee thing. Auburn historically has had a bell cow. You've got 3 backs that it seems like, are kind of equal level playing field. Are you cool with the running back by committee, or do you think a bell cow will emerge over the course of the season?
He said he's very comfortable and cool with the running back by committee, but would be very happy to pivot in week 5 or 6 if one bell cow emerged.
Which is the right answer.
And you want to know something else that was very telling to me? He mentioned Alston first.
Yes.
Then Cobb.
Yes.
I thought he would mention Darrell Robinson next.
No.
He did not. Who did he mention?
My guy.
Yep.
Omar Mabson.
Yep. And said he was shocked about how powerful of a runner he was.
As a freshman and as should be a senior in high school.
That's the really
should be a senior in high school.
That's the really amazing part of that.
Yeah, I think there's a very real chance that in 3 or 4 years look back at this running back room, we'll say Omar Mabson was the best back career-wise at Auburn. I think very highly of Omar.
Well, and I mean, for him to again call him out by name and mention him third, when I would have thought Robinson or Alvin would have been mentioned in the pecking order ahead of that, was kind of telling to me.
What do you think? He never said Darrell's name, I don't think. He just said the transfer from UConn.
No, that.
What do you think? What's going on with that when he does that?
He may have not wanted to confuse Darrell with Darrell and thought maybe that there would be some confusion there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I thought
that was a little strange.
That was very strange.
It's we all know his name.
The transfer from UConn. I mean, that's what he referred to.
Yeah, he went through spring, kind of. I mean, he was hurt and limited, but it's Darrell. We all know his name is Darrell.
Yeah.
We all know that.
I wonder how that – I don't know if that bodes too well for Darrell.
Did you do that on purpose?
Mm-mm.
No, just
Beyonce is here, so I'm trying to rap a little bit rhyme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Thoughts on Darrell's rapping? Let us know in the comments down below. A few people want you to do the Sankey leg, so that might be a social media post at some point. So make sure you follow us.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. Okay. Other notes from Monday and other things that Cohen and Freeze talked about next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We did 3 shows yesterday. We'll probably do 3 today. We'll see. We'll see what players we're able to get access to and other Auburn people. So other things that happened on Monday of note. I'm trying to think if there's anything else Hugh Freeze talked about that we need to make sure we spend time on. And nothing super clear is coming to mind.
I like the question about expectations and the pressure.
Okay.
Justin Hokanson asked that, and he just said he thrives on that. That anybody that thinks now he's feeling pressure he felt pressure the minute he took the Auburn job.
Yeah.
And he knew what it was like to coach against Auburn and to coach in this conference. And so there's nothing about this. And then he referred to what Butch Thompson has done in the last couple months, what Bruce Pearl did in the last 6 months. And he said there's no reason why the football program can't be at the same heights.
Yeah. Which is exciting. As far as stuff Cohen said, I think we hit on the main thing.
Can I just say this about what Cohen said?
Go ahead.
This needs to be said, and I like painting a picture. So we're in a room that was 183 degrees, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And Butch Thompson goes first, and we talk about the draft, and there were some really good insights about that.
Sure.
Then Hugh Freeze goes next.
Yes.
And everyone's getting ready to leave the room. And John Cohen, who's standing at the back of the room, very unassuming, says, hey, guys, if y'all want to ask me anything or want me for anything, I'll be glad to answer, which I thought was very gracious, especially with what's been going on in Auburn the last month and what happened with Pettiford 3 nights ago. Most athletic directors would run and hide and not want to have to answer questions about that.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really shied away at all. I mean, this guy, he'll be like the color commentator for like a full baseball game. And like, he's a great speaker. Like, you could listen to him talk about a topic for a long time.
He's very commissioner-like when he talks.
Okay.
From a leadership standpoint, I'm not saying he's going to be, but he has traits that remind me of conference commissioners.
I totally get that.
And the way he presents things. And for him to say, you guys need me, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Yeah,
in an era where Auburn's getting beat up a lot on a lot of things.
And he's not shying away from it. He's okay being the face of Auburn University because he believes in it so much. And the Tahad thing, he answered that question in strides. And he talked to Tahad Pettiford early in the morning, and he looked me in the eyes, and he's like, Tahad's a good kid. Like, I saw in his eyes that like he's going to make the right decisions.
And he told him, he promised him, he said, I'll learn from this mistake and will not make it again.
I love that you brought up the Cohen thing though, because you're right. Like, we had all picked up our mics from the podium, and he's like, y'all want me to go? And he's like, yeah, sure. Great. And he is the kind of dude that when he comes in the room, like, he kind of commands it if he wants to. Like, he was fine sitting in the back. And I think a lot of the media actually didn't realize he was back there when Freeze was being asked all these questions about NIL and rev share, and he was explaining it. And he kind of deferred. He couldn't answer a few questions. I think it's just because he genuinely didn't know.
Right.
And so for him to step up and say, like, hey, I'll answer it. We have seen ADs in the past, like, be in the room, and it would have made sense for them to go up there, and they didn't. Like, we've seen that.
He's very unassuming, stands in the background, but then when he does have the opportunity to be front and center, he absolutely commands the moment. And I really was very, very impressed with him. I was very impressed with the fact that he said how long he coached. He was a very successful baseball coach in Mississippi State, that he pulled Bruce Pearl aside multiple times this year and said, how are you doing what you're doing? From a coach that has had a baseball program that's one of the best in the SEC, to do that tells you exactly. I just like the fact that every time, if I'm at a Bruce Pearl post-game press conference or a Hugh Freeze post-game press conference, John Cohen's never more than 10 feet away. And he's always the first one to walk out of the press conference with the coach, both Pearl and Freeze. And that, to me, shows a sign of solidarity and support.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the support is there for sure. For sure. And let's spend a second talking about Butch Thompson. The draft was still ongoing when he was having these conversations, but it was kind of interesting to see, like, in real time, what college coaches have to deal with this portal still being open. You can add guys, but he's waiting to see
if he needs to,
like, which players are going to be gone and which ones aren't.
He wasn't surprised. He said they had a contingency plan, and the draft went exactly how he expected.
Really, it was fascinating. Like, we always talk about, like, I wonder what this looks like.
And he looked distracted. And it's the first time I've ever talked to Butch Thompson where he seemed like he would rather be anywhere else than there. And he even said, "This the timing of this with the draft still going on." But again, what a great person to take time.
Yeah, like he walked in and somebody's like, "How you been?" He's like, "We're around 15." That's how we're doing.
Because
right now.
If he loses more people, and especially people need to understand this, guys that Auburn that are committed to Auburn, that are high school players, if they get taken in the first 10 rounds of the draft, they're not coming to college. They're going to play minor league baseball, and that's a concern. But his strategy is to never back away from that and still recruit high-level kids that may get drafted.
Yeah, which makes sense. And that was a great question by you as far as how you balance all of that. But obviously he's a heck of a coach, and the guys, like the freshmen that are coming back, and a lot of them didn't play last year.
Oh, they're
he's
good.
like, there's like 10 guys, and I think Brian Matthews listed them all, and he's like, oh yeah, Oh, yeah. No, it was a top 5 class for a reason. Like, we're ready.
I love the opportunity. We're here for SEC Media Days. I get it. And we're here for football. But it's nice to step back every once in a while and get a bird's eye view of what Auburn athletically still is
Sure.
and what they accomplished.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, the last 2 or 3 weeks, even a month, it's been beat up a lot. And the Pettiford thing was the cherry on the Sunday after that happened this weekend. People were like, can Auburn get any good news at all?
Sure.
The golf stuff, the recruiting, the NIL stuff, the Pettiford stuff. I mean, it just absolutely has been a storm.
Which some of that more serious than others, right? I mean, like the golf stuff was just annoying. Like not the greatest look, but just annoying. But
Yeah.
the hot thing is like,
absolutely.
oh goodness.
But when you
like
people,
DJ Barber was a few days prior to that. It's
DJ
like
Barber, and we never.
goodness gracious.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's been a storm,
Yeah.
a black cloud, and I think it's nice every once in a while to kind of step back and realize
Yep.
that there were a lot of things to be thankful
Yep.
for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Darrell Dapprich, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Well, we're dropping stuff. We're dropping content
Dropping
like
it.
it's hot. And but
Dropping like
DAP
it's hot.
6410
Yep.
on X. I do provide a lot of the links and retweet the stuff you're doing, and then obviously just keep checking back on YouTube and where
Sure.
you get your podcasts because we're going at it.
Yeah, normally we post at like 4 p.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. in the afternoons on audio, but we're just kind of posting stuff as we feel like somebody goes up at media days and we have to react to. So, yeah, keep your head on a swivel, fam. Keep your head on a swivel. We'll get back to normal when media days are over. So please like the video. Please subscribe if you're tuned in on audio. Please subscribe. Leave us a review. It helps us out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.